All right, all right, all right. Another Thought Candy podcast. We decided to assemble together today. You see this beautiful background back here.
Yeah, buddy.
It's your boy, Mr. Millionaire Mindset.
It's Philly in the building.
We in the atmosphere. Put it that way.
Yes, another beautiful day in paradise. Don't be mad at us. Don't be mad at us.
It's a little chilly, but it's still
Yeah,
beautiful. As
exactly.
you can see in the background.
You gotta love the San Diego.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, so look, we in the month of February, right?
Yes, sir.
I know I was out and about, last episode, I'm gonna tell you, being sick ain't no joke. But hey, we back at you live. I'm back here. Yes.
Welcome back, brother.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. I appreciate you, bro. Now we're in the month of February, and we know that this is considered Black History Month, right? But what does one really know, Sean, about Black History Month? I mean, can you tell me? Did you study Black history when you were in college? When you were growing up in in school, junior high, high school? Did they have Black history? That you guys taught? That was taught to you?
Necessarily, man. I kind of alluded to this in the last episode that in these California schools, it required you to do more research than the general. Who was Martin Luther King? Who was Malcolm X? Type of scenarios, and they didn't teach it a lot. I mean, I know that this coast, being on the west, is significantly different from.
Come on now, you had to know about Harriet Tubman and
She's
Frederick Douglass.
probably lumped in with the general.
Man,
That's what I'm saying. As far as college, yeah, took a Black history course, but as far as it being taught, drilled, and and all of the other folks, because there's so many others that
exactly.
don't get credit for the accomplishments that they've had. And like I said, we did talk about this in the last episode, but man, it was just the basics. It wasn't in depth. It wasn't. We don't get a lot of credit, and I think that's by design. We don't get a lot of credit for the things that we've accomplished. And I think they would like for it to not be in the history books so that we don't get those things to be able to pass on. We have to be the ones that are passing through our kids and get it from our parents and things of that sort. So it just depends on where they came from, if it was passed on or
Black History Month. Do you instill that into your kids? I mean, I know it wasn't until I was a lot older that I really knew about Black history. I mean, they, like I say, we taught it in public schools in Philadelphia. They taught the George Carvers, and he was the Peanut Man, and we know those. We know the Harriet Tubmans and the Martin Luther Kings, but there were so many other people that were so prominent and done some powerful things as African Americans to change and revolutionize America.
absolutely, and allowed us the privileges and things that we have now, based on their sacrifice.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like I personally need to do more research for myself because it's not something that's being taught from the schools for the most part.
Right.
You got to do your due diligence and extracurricular, when it comes to studies about these different things. I stayed here, Cali. I didn't go to a all Black university or HBCU or something like that, to get those type of nuggets, culture, information.
Exactly.
I mean, that would have been lovely. I ain't gonna lie to you.
And that's another
Right,
whole
that's a whole nother subject. I live with no regrets, but in that sense, I would love to know a little more about the past to kind of know where I would want to go in the future and avoid some of those mistakes. Now, for the most part, I can say that, that's the case and I've done pretty well. Yeah, we got to know where we came from to know where we're going. Absolutely.
This is why I wanted to talk about this on this episode of Thought Candy. We talk about Black History Month. We know why it was established in the month of February. You know why?
Nah, but I'm waiting on you to tell me. But I personally think that we celebrate Black history every day of the year.
Yes.
And the things that we do and what we represent and the accomplishments that we achieve are Black history. We are Black history. You and I right here are Black history. You know what I mean? We have a past. We have some things that we've gone through to get to where we're at now. And we may not know the particulars on some of the individuals that made these sacrifices, man, but we make sacrifices every day. Just being Black is a challenge, and you have to establish some history. We have history of challenges and whatever, oppression and discrimination, and the list goes on and on. So I don't know why it's just 1 month. Somebody chose that.
Well, this is where it is. Let me politely interrupt. This is what it is. It was a gentleman by the name of Carter. As I was doing my little research, Carter Woodson, 1915. And this gentleman was the first gentleman that had the first African American to have a doctoral degree from the University of Harvard. So it was him and another gentleman who was a minister. And they wanted to form something where they can give back to the African Americans, of those African Americans who served us very well, that were unsung heroes, be it in the war, be it inventors, be it entertainers that were not known, they've done some great things. And they deemed it first, it was Negro Week. It wasn't, we had a whole month, they just had a week. Now this was just amongst ourselves. Then in 1926, they started from January the 2nd to February the 28th. They considered that Black History Month. That was just amongst ourselves. Now, it wasn't until 1970 that it got recognized by America. 1976, I think it was President Ford who recognized it and gave it the month of February. We had already celebrated in February. I always thought growing up, and very recently, they got to give us the shortest one. Why they got to give us the shortest one, right? Why the Black folks get the shortest one? We hear, we hear all of that. Why has it got to be in February? Well, really, it was because of Frederick Douglass' birthday and Abraham Lincoln's birthday. So that's why they deemed it the month of February. And it wasn't by the presidents or some white man. This was actually done by our people who actually started it. So I was just like, wow. It kind of took me, by surprise and say, man, this was something that we started. And it had me thinking, why is it that we always follow and we don't initiate and we start making plans? This man he really started Black History Month. This wasn't something that the whites gave us and said, we're going to give you guys the month of February. Go ahead and celebrate it. He was celebrating all of those unsung heroes and inventors and entrepreneurs that we didn't know about. We hear about who invented the stoplight, Garrett Morris, Madam C.J. Walker, right? The straightening comb, exactly. Yeah. But there's so many more than that. And like you said, we shouldn't have, it shouldn't be just 1 month. We should be teaching our children and educating ourselves each and every day when it comes to Black history.
Well, and celebrating each other's accomplishments.
Yes.
I mean, I really believe in this day and age, and it's not new, but we tear down each other more than we build up
Ooh,
each other.
speak on it. Come on, come on.
And so therefore, we could be creating history every single month of the year because we do some phenomenal things. And I said it before. I said it in the last episode. Everything we touch, we put a sprinkle on it, a class and pizzazz and everything. And so January through December, we can create history, but we're too busy tearing each other down versus lifting each other up and congratulating each other on accomplishments, because we accomplish things every day. You just don't hear about it, and the media isn't going to report it.
Exactly.
We have to celebrate ourselves. Like
Exactly.
if you want to be celebrated, you celebrate you. You celebrate the ones around you. You know, you put a platform together like we're doing here with Thought Candy.
That's right.
To celebrate accomplishments and recognize what people are doing in the community throughout the world.
And I believe you 100% wholeheartedly. And I think what we need to start doing, and I think we're going to start it right here on this podcast. I think we had talked about that when we were talking about forming this podcast, is that we need to bring something that's going to be educational to the people out there that's actually listening to us. It's not, we're not just talking so-called Black, but being Black History Month, I thought it was something we need to sit there and talk about. We should know about ourselves. We should know about, you know, the accomplishments that our people have made, you know, in American society. I mean, it's so many. As I was sitting here just doing my research, like, wow, I really can't believe this. Now I can't talk about them all because we'd be here forever. But what we want to do, Sean, if you may chime in with agreement, hopefully, is that we sit here and we talk about some of those accomplishments and some of those people that made some great things happen in American society. I mean, it's more than just, like I say, Martin Luther King. It's more than just Harriet Tubman. We're talking modern day. You know, who we know that what's the gentleman's name who did the first heart transplant, African American man. I mean, first African American to go into space. What's her name? I think I wrote that down as well. And this was very recently.
We can quote these names all day, but you know that there's been some things that have been accomplished.
Oh yes,
It's just that we need to have it embedded in our minds, but we don't even really have to guess about what it was and who it was. But even more than that, how does it get in and stay in the history books, and how is it taught in our education?
exactly.
No matter what coast or what area you live in, the same way we would have to learn about George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, and you know, all of these other, you know, American presidents, learn about some Black history. And maybe you would understand the plight and the struggle of what we go through, and you know, some of the reason of why we are the way we are.
Right. We can knock down the basketball players, the baseball players, the football players. We can run off their batting averages, their scoring titles all day. But there's so many more people outside of sports that have done phenomenal things. This is what I'm saying.
We're bigger than hip hop.
Thank
We're bigger
you.
than sports.
Thank you.
Like we
Thank
love
you.
all those things, right? We love music. We love sporting events. We love being athletic and getting out and flexing your muscle or showing your physical abilities and everything. But that's not it. It's up here too.
It's so much more.
Please believe it.
Exactly.
There's a lot of folks that are very intelligent that aren't good at music or good at sports, and that's what we need to be able to recognize.
Yeah.
And that the world needs to understand that
Yeah.
everybody doesn't want to be a rapper or an athlete.
And I caught this later. I caught this later in my years. It's probably been said to me, I don't know how many times, a half a dozen times, not more. So you want to hide something from a black man? What they say?
Put it in a book.
Put it in a book. You want to hide something from a black person? Put it in a book. Man, guys, now we have access, right? I mean, you're probably looking at this right now. You have the world pretty much in your hand now, right, Sean? We keep these devices, man, connected to us. In the morning we wake up, we're on it. In the bathroom, we're on it. Wherever we're at, we got that device. Sitting down in the doctor's office, the dentist or whatever, we got these devices. So do something educational with it. Honestly, as I was sitting here, it just really blew my mind because it's Black history. I'm gonna give you a little something right. Mark Dean, he was the co-inventor of the IBM computer. First computer. I'm like,
Hear that?
I'm like, whoa.
Do we hear that?
The gentleman, George Crum, C-R-U-M, the inventor of the potato chip. I mean, guys, this is just a small fraction of some of the names that I have in my book right here. But look, we're gonna play a video. Look at that video. It's gonna talk a little bit about how Black history started and what we should be doing. And it shouldn't just be African American, Sean. It should be everybody, even though it's Black History Month, but we know white history, so why can't they learn Black history?
Ever wonder who created Black History Month? Why it is celebrated in February, the shortest month of the year? Or why it was created in the first place? Well, there is no need to wonder. The answer can be found at a red brick Victorian row house in Washington, D.C.'s historic Shaw neighborhood, which is now a national park. When Dr. Carter G. Woodson, the father of African American history, established Negro History Week in 1926, he had a mammoth task on his hands. Why was the task so big? Ranger John Fowler, standing among displays in Dr. Woodson's packing and shipping room, explains.
He selected the second week of February for its observance because it encompassed the birthdays of both President Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. Dr. Woodson and his co-laborers were dealing with a prominent narrative that said, for example, things like enslaved people were happy, that slavery provided trades for these people, and that Reconstruction was a mistake. He came to see that blacks knew particularly nothing about our history, and he ultimately believed that African Americans could benefit immensely from the knowledge of their past and the accomplishments of their ancestors.
He added that race prejudice was the byproduct of whites' beliefs that black people had not contributed anything of worth to America, let alone world civilization. In a large statue of Dr. Woodson, his arm rests on a book and is surrounded by other of his writings. As he added to the historical record, Dr. Woodson argued that if the historical record was set straight, and that if the history of black people were studied along with the achievements of others in schools, not only would black youth develop a sense of pride and self-worth, but racism would be abolished. Standing next to a desk in Dr. Woodson's reception area, Ranger John explains.
Negro History Week was unique in that it focused on black youth. Dr. Woodson realized that the miseducation of black people began in their homes, communities, and elementary schools. And he wanted the week-long celebration to serve as a stepping stone toward the gradual introduction of black history in the curricula of all levels of the United States educational system. He hoped that Negro History Week would evolve into Negro History Year, instructing those observing the week to diligently prepare for the celebration months in advance.
One of the ways he encouraged folks to prepare was to write his Association for the Study of Negro Life and History for information and ideas. From 1926 until the early 1970s, Dr. Woodson's home office, headquarters for the association and his publishing company, the Associated Publishers, was located right here, at 1538 9th Street Northwest. Negro History Week circulars and other promotional materials and resources were mailed from this address to various educational institutions, presses, fraternal and social welfare organizations, churches, literary societies, and radio stations. By the time of Dr. Woodson's death in 1950, Negro History Week celebrations had become very popular. In 1976, the association extended the week-long celebration to an entire month, now called Black History Month. In the home where Black History Month began, Ranger John stands in Dr. Woodson's office next to historic images of this space.
Here at the Carter G. Woodson Home National Historic Site, it's our hope that before you celebrate Black History Month, you take the time to educate yourself and others about this special and important aspect of our history.
Yeah.
Yes or yes?
I think, like I said, part of, yes, absolutely. 10,000%. I think part of the struggle of understanding us as a people is it's not in the history books. And some of that frustration and anger is because we haven't been recognized for so long.
Exactly.
But we need to put that out there. We need to use platforms like this to let folks know that we've accomplished a lot, to be able to pass on to our children and the children's children. There's no way that they can really know what it is that they should be doing and the mission if they don't know the past of what happened before.
Exactly.
I know I want to create some history in my life. I do know that. And that's without knowing all of that. You can still have drive and ambition, but it's good to know that because it makes it that much stronger. It makes it that much stronger for you to pursue what you're looking for because you know what our ancestors weren't able to get, what they fought for us to be able to do what we're doing now.
And in spite of all of what they had to go through, they were still phenomenal people, done phenomenal things. You think we got it hard right now, what we're going through. So imagine what they had to endure and what they had to go through. I was looking at something on the St. Louis Cardinals. Before there was Michael Jordan, there was a gentleman named Gibson. It was a pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals. Look up Gibson, St. Louis Cardinals, Google it. He was the Jordan before there was Jordan. Not taking anything away from Jordan, he was that guy. But look, I'm glad we sit down here and we talk right next to my dream boats back here. So yeah, we doing the damn thing, me and my man. But look, we're gonna end it. But hold on, because we did have a new segment we was talking about, right? I don't know if you did it last week when I was sick, but it was Name That Movie, right? Name That Movie. So this is what I'm gonna come up with. I got one for them. We don't have no guest on, so they can't ruin it for us now, right?
Right.
All right, Sean, I'm gonna give it up to you before I put it out there. What are we giving away for the person who gets the right answer? Is it one answer or two answers? I mean, we get two winners or one winner or what? We're giving out. We don't have the mugs with us right now, but we're giving out a mug.
I'm just trying to figure out how we would know who answered first, unless we tell them to go specifically
Oh, it's going to be on the first one who answered on our
YouTube.
our YouTube. You got to answer through YouTube. You have to answer through YouTube. Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be the instruction.
Yeah.
You got to go to our YouTube. You have to be subscribed
to
our YouTube.
Okay, there you go.
And put it in the comments. Put it in the comments of this particular episode.
All right.
So let's see who can follow instructions.
All right. So
don't DM me talking about I won and you ain't subscribed.
No,
follow damn directions.
It'll work that way. Exactly. You gotta. That's basic 101.
Make sure you are subscribed. Numero uno.
Okay.
And then go into the comments. And as far as what?
As far as is it gonna be one winner, two winners? What are you going to do? The first two? Or is it the first one? How we gonna run it?
Let's say the first two.
All right, the first two, y'all got Saw Candy mugs coming your way. We'll if you out of this city, we'll ship them to you. We'll take care. We got you. So this is the quote. Name that movie. Let me see if I can remember. Scene. You just stepped on my brand new Air Jordans. And all you got to do is say sorry. That's all you got to say. Scene. We do it again.
You don't have to do it for me because I think it is.
Okay, all right. All right. Go back and look at it. I'll do it again. I'm gonna say this.
I know what it is.
You just stepped on my brand new white Air Jordans, and all you got to say is sorry. Sing. Name that movie.
Hey, listen, we appreciate you all chiming in. The goal is to always motivate, inspire, educate. And we hope that something that we say on this podcast you can relate to. We're in a beautiful sunny San Diego. You see the background, you see the sunshine. It's a little chilly and breezy, but we out here.
Hey, look, I'm gonna hit with this.
Yes, sir.
Just because we're in the month of February and they call it Black History Month, learn history each and every day. Because if they say if you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're going. Is that right? I said that right?
I believe so.
Yeah. You don't know.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. If you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're going. So hey, every single day should be a history day when it comes to Black history. With that being said, hey, we got it. I love you. He love you. Ain't nothing we can do about it but love you back.